Well, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, head of the Department of Justice, obviously watching with rapt attention what just happened to her friend Kristi Noem, who was fired as the head of Homeland Security. And Pam Bondi is up at night worrying about two major things. One, that she's going to be fired, which is likely and obvious. And secondly, that she is going to lose her bar license to practice law when she leaves federal service. And we've got two responses by a very upset administration about all of the state bar regulators who are looking at and investigating Department of Justice attorneys and others that work for the Trump administration and deciding whether they should lose their bar licenses to practice, whether they should be disciplined, whether they should be censured. And we've got two examples in the last 48 hours. One, Lindsay Halligan, the former federal prosecutor, Eastern District of Virginia for about 2 months, who had to resign in disgrace, who multiple federal judges observed that she had violated the ethics rules. She is now the subject and the target of a Florida bar investigation. We'll talk about what that means. The Florida bar took the position that while federal attorneys are still in the government, they can't be disciplined by the state bar. I don't think that was right. But now that Lindsay Halligan is out of government, it's open season. Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, has always been worried about the law licenses of Donald Trump's lawyers. The Department of Justice is nothing more than his private law firm. Most of the lawyers in the Department of Justice senior leadership are his former private lawyers. And look what happened to the first round of private lawyers that worked for Donald Trump. Many of them censured, sanctioned, disciplined, had their bar licenses taken away, indicted and or convicted, or fined by federal judges. I'm talking about Ken Chesborough, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, right? I'm talking about John Eastman and Alina Habba in her own way. And of course, the people that are in the government now that are being forced to take unethical positions, to be defiant of federal judges, to violate ethical rules, are worried that by following the orders of Pam Bondi, they themselves will be subject to discipline and maybe lose their bar licenses, and they should be. I'm a member of a bar in 2 states. I'm a member of multiple federal bars. I'm a member of the Florida bar, the way that Pam Bondi is. And then you've got the lawyers who are worried about bar licenses that they have that will be subject to disciplinary proceedings as soon as they step out of the administration. And so Pam Bondi did a second thing in the last 48 hours. She has published in the Federal Register a proposed new rule. New rules, everybody. The Department of Justice and its Office of Ethics will regulate itself, will investigate itself, will stop state bars from doing their own investigation as to the lawyers that they regulate. And those bars will have to sit on the sidelines until the Department of Justice is done investigating and or regulating and or disciplining its own lawyers. Who's going to discipline Pam Bondi? Who's going to investigate her? The Department of Justice? Talk about an ethical conflict. The creation of the rule is an ethical conflict. By the way, you're on the Midas Touch Network. I'm back. I was on holiday with my family, but I am back. I'm Michael Popak. Thanks for being here. Hit the free subscribe button over on Legal AF YouTube as well. This is unheard of in the history of the Department of Justice and federal administration to try to usurp the power, the authority, the right of bar associations, state courts of appeal, and or Supreme Courts to regulate their lawyers. Let me give you a quick tutorial, teach out about bar licenses, having had a couple for the last 35 years. Every state has its own regulator. You need to be a member of at least one bar of one state in order to get admitted separately into the federal bar to be able to practice in federal court. When you pass the bar and you're admitted into the bar, two different things. You pass the bar by taking a test. You're admitted into the bar by having background check and being found to have the right character and fitness to practice law. You get references. They do full background check, proctologist style, if you know what I mean. And then they admit you. You get sworn in. You take an oath. Now, that ticket allows you to practice in that state. Not in the federal courts of that state, in the state court. You then have to take a separate test or a different admission procedure to become a federal bar practitioner. Okay? And you can't skip it. You can't say, well, I don't want to be a member of any state bar. I'll just go into the federal bar. No, you have to have at least a state bar regulation. Meaning, in 99.99% of the time, you come out of an accredited law school after a 3-year program or such. You take the bar exam, which consists of a multi-state bar, sort of general law throughout the country, usually multiple choice, essays, and some state-specific law section.